Hello everyone, welcome to Warrior DNA. My name is Staci Wallace and we have got a great segment for you. Thank you guys so much for tapping in every week. We go live with Warrior DNA. We've been doing this and I love getting the stories, the remarks, the comments, obviously the private messages. When you guys go a little deeper with me and tell me what's been going on and how this is impacting you. I want to say thank you before we get into today's topic. First off, let me tell you, today's topic is a great one. I'm going to show you the evolution of how to go all in as a leader and what that's done for my life. I'm going to show you how specific stories of how this has started way back in the 90s for me, really probably when I was younger. My parents used some of these principles to raise me up. But then all the way through my leadership, how there's been this overwhelming awakening, more and more and more to a sense of complete consciousness where I know that I know what I'm called to do, what I'm supposed to be doing, and living all in that moment. We're going to talk about that and how you can know exactly why am I here, what am I supposed to be doing, and how to live all in to that supreme reality. So before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for all of you for liking and sharing these posts. Obviously, last week we had a lot of shares. It's a great message, but the more you share, the more people we impact. Obviously, I've got my followers, but you've got your followers, and when you share this, you help us spread the word. And today is going to be worth spreading. You're going to know that you've got people who are going through challenges in their business, challenges in their relationship, challenges physically, challenges in their finances. Today is going to be a great message to share with your friends and be able to just spread a little light this week through Warrior DNA. Obviously, Warrior DNA is an awakening. It's living with courageous faith, relentless pursuit of what you know to be your absolute best. So we're going to talk more about that. But first, I want to do our like, share, and winner for this week. We've got, let me see who won it here. Denise always picks someone out of everyone who shares this post and likes it. She always picks out a random winner. This week's winner is Pauline Nigerito. I'm sure I butchered that. But Pauline, you're the winner. Awesome. I love that. And you are winning Due Season. This is an amazing training. I taught this years ago. But believe it or not, even though it's an oldie but goodie, it continues to be asked for because it's all about understanding God's timing in your life and in your business. A lot of times we're like, when is it going to happen, God? When's going to be my turn? Due season, you will reap if you faint not, because in due season, what is due season? See, it's spelled D-E-W. That's another training. You guys want to be a share and win winner like Pauline, and you'll get that full training. All right, so let's get started for today. Today's topic is living all in, or the evolution of becoming an all-in leader. I'm going to take you back through a little bit of course study from my life and what's gotten me to this place here now. I'm 47 years old. What's gotten me to this place to know with absolute certainty that outweighs the uncertainty of the world around me, what I am on this planet to do, why I've been given a segment of time to do it, and as long as I stay focused on that true north or that divine mandate, then I am going to be living on purpose with a sense of peace, with a sense of gratitude, with a sense of humility, because I'm no longer about achieving or acquiring. I'm about being. I'm about truly living in my best self. And when I live in my best self, the peace that passes all understanding guards my heart, my mind, and my spirit. A lot of you right now, you're not living with peace. So you're living kind of fragmented all over the place. You're kind of doing this, you're kind of doing that. You're spread out all over the map. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But first I want to take you on a course study, a little bit of my life. You know, when I grew up with a mom and dad that were passionately focused on living a positive, faith-filled life. So they had me growing up reading, obviously I learned all the books of the stories of the Bible. My dad was a pastor. But they also taught me principles of positive thinking, like Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. One of my parents' favorites was Zig Ziglar, and teaching the principles of living a positive life, how to be a good business executive and leader, how to be effective in sales, and doing it through positivity. Well, one of the things, obviously, I learned way back when I read See You at the Top was his life study, the Wheel of Life. Well, in 1995, that became a real epiphany for me. In 1995, I began to realize intentional thinking. And that's what his Wheel of Life really did for me. How to think intentionally about different areas of my life. In fact, you'll see here every year, I have it written out in other books. I have it, this is my 2017 journal. And I write out basically the Wheel of Life or Wheel of Success. I've adapted it over the years and put some extra segments into it so that I can make sure that I'm always improving and increasing in those areas. Of course, in my Shift Happens course study, you'll see that we've got that right involved in the study. It's powerful. We have people really intentionally look at those areas of their life so that they can make the adjustments consciously that they need to make in order to eventually live in the subconscious of peace. Now, I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute. So in 1995, I began to have this understanding and an awakening that you can really begin to define life by design. You can begin to live the life you want if you make conscious, strategic decisions. I mean, instead of going out and going, one day I want to be at this rank, you've got to consciously make decisions daily what you're going to do. Segment your day. Make sure that you have, it's no different than playing chess. You've got to be strategic with your movements, strategic with your thoughts, strategic with your intentional thinking, your words, how you speak to people. If you haven't read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, again, training your behaviors in all those areas of life. So as I'm growing up, I began to learn more and more. Now, in 2005, something happened in my life where I began to have an awareness of subconscious, conscious, and then what we call what I would call the abyss, right? You've got your conscious thinking, your subconscious thinking, and then your non-conscious thinking. Let me show you what that looks like. So your conscious thinking is here. These are the things you think. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to consciously be intentional with my thoughts, consciously intentional with my time. It's intentional thinking. I'm going to intentionally work out. My body doesn't want to. I don't want to get out of bed, but I'm going to allow my conscious, my thought process, my strategic thinking, my intentionality to override my emotions or those subconscious emotions, right? So your subconscious is where the waves of life are, right? You can be up one day, down the other. I'm sure I'm butchering that word. But, and so in your subconscious, you've got emotions, you've got all those things that try to keep you out of your goals, not intentional about the things you need to be working on. And then, of course, down here is what I call the abyss, right? That is the non-conscious thinking. That's where pride and ego and all of your base level thinking, your fears, they try to pull you down. You want to live here, right? You want to be consciously strategic about what you're doing. Now, this is going somewhere. We're going to get to all in. I'm going to tell you a crazy cool story of something that happened to my family and I. 2007, this is where the story really begins for me. Now, I have all these things. It's like an evolution of what's taking place in my life as a leader to get me where we're going, which is going to be today. In 2007, we lived in Arkansas. Now, we had come out of taking a company public. We had done pretty good in that, and we were living out there, feeding 500 people a weekend, and part of a lot of ministries, had a ministry in 22 countries, really, really giving back. And so we were in this space of going, are we supposed to be in full-time ministry, or are we supposed to be in corporate America? Are we supposed to be in full-time ministry, or are we supposed to be in the marketplace leadership? Well, one day, my kids, now they were little, they wanted to go down to the creek. And they came to me and they said, Mommy, let's go to the creek, let's go to the creek. So, of course, Larry and I, it was a Sunday afternoon, and Sunday was our Sabbath, so we took time and just walked holding hands. Of course, the kids ran on ahead of us, and they run down to this creek. Now, when they get to the creek, they don't think about the water, they don't think about wet, they just get in the creek, right? They got their shoes on, they actually already had their swimsuit on and their little creek shoes, water shoes, and so when they got down to the creek, they are just playing and laughing and having a good time. Well, Larry and I, we're walking along, having a lovely little hand-in-hand walk, and when we get down to the creek, my little girl and little boy are going, Mommy, Mommy, jump in. Get in, Mommy. Well, you know, we get a little closer. Finally, they're looking at me going, Mommy, Mommy, get in. So I get up to the edge of the creek on a little rock that's on the edge of the creek. And they're going, no, 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 Mommy, get all in, Mommy. And I kind of step out to where there's another rock in the creek. Now I'm in the middle of the creek. I'm on a rock, but I'm not getting really wet. Now they've already gone a little bit downstream where there's a little drop off, and they are, you know, they're up to their neck. They're having a great old time. They're completely in the water. They look at me and they go, Mommy, Mommy, get all in. Well, I take and I walk as far down that creek as I could get without getting all in. Now my feet are a little touched by the water, not wet yet. But in order for me to go where they're at, I have got to get wet. I have got to go all in. So they're looking at me, go, Mommy, Mommy, go all in, jump all in, Mommy, Mommy, jump all in. And so I'm looking at them, and I'm standing on this rock, and I'm looking at them, and I'm standing on this rock, and all of a sudden I am like, it's like there's this subconscious holdback because I don't want to get wet. And it hit me that day. Why? Why on earth are we so stopped by thinking, who taught us that we can't get our shoes wet? I mean, they dry out, right? Who taught us that we can't get our pants wet? Somewhere in our history, mom and dad, don't get wet, kids, don't get wet. And suddenly our subconscious is thinking, I can't get wet because that's what I've been told not to do. And there I'm standing, I'm on this rock, the fun is in the water, my kids are in the water, my kids are screaming, Mommy, jump all in. And it hit me. Why am I not getting in? And so I looked at them and I said, okay, 1, 2, 3. And I jumped in that water, all in. Got wet. My sunglasses were floating down the little river. We were having a great old time. And so they're jumping. They're on my back. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, Daddy! Daddy, get in! Daddy, jump in! Well, Daddy's on the edge, just like our same thought processes. Daddy's a little more conservative than Mommy. Daddy's a little less likely to be crazy and jump all in. He's in his jeans, he's in his shoes, he's in his shirt, and he gets to the edge and I'm going, come on, baby, come on, get in. And he gets, same process, walks out on that same rock, and he's standing in the middle of that little river, and he's not getting wet. And my kids are squealing, all in, Daddy, all in, jump all in, Daddy. And of course I'm screaming with him, and we're going, all in, all in, all in. And about that time, I look at him and I can tell the same thoughts were going through his subconscious. My shoes are going to get wet, my clothes are going to get wet, I'm not going to get my shirt wet. And I looked at him and I said, who told you you can't get your shoes wet? Who told you you can't get your jeans wet? Break out of that and jump all in. Well, he did. And I'm telling you, that day, we had so much fun. We were soaking wet, but we played down there for over an hour in the water with our kids. And you know what that led to is in 2009, that little story became something that opened up the door to a revolutionary moment in my life. A massive network marketing company asked me to speak for their national convention. And when they did, I had a message prepared, and just a couple of days before the event, something said, I want you to talk about all in. Well, I know it was God. Said, talk about all in. Well, I didn't have a message about all in, but I remembered the story of those little kids. And when I got up on stage, I brought up a little Walmart swimming pool full of water. And I told the story about living all in. And about that time, we did an illustration where one guy came up and he got his toes wet. And the second part of the illustration was the second guy comes up and goes, hey man, what are you doing? And the guy says, I'm all in. I'm just hanging out in the pool. He got his little bouncy ball going. The second guy says, that's not all in. I'll show you all in. And he gets in his knees deep, and he's splashing himself with water. Well, what was supposed to happen next was the third person was supposed to come up in this illustration and go all in. But before they did, a strange woman I've never met in my life, never seen before, comes up out of the audience, runs up on stage, and jumps into that swimming pool. Freaks me out. Now, everybody else thinks it's a part of the skit, but I know something just happened in this room. Something just broke in this room, that the message that I'm trying to convey hit the subconscious of someone who made a conscious decision to get out of their chair and jump up on that stage and go in the pool. Well, now at this point, I am so into my message. People are screaming and shouting. About that time, a lady, probably about 400 pounds, comes up while I'm talking, gets in the pool, does a Nesty's plunge in the pool and screams, "I am all in." It is like I've lost control of this entire, it was like a big ballroom of a big hotel in Dallas. About that time, it hit me. I'm done. This is all I need to do in this moment. I asked the CEO of the company, I said, how are you going to live? Because if you want this entire company to go all in, I'm going to ask you to do the same. And about that time, he came up on stage and he leans over to me and he goes, are they wanting me to go in that water there? And I said, you need to make your own conscious decision about what you're going to do and let it be a mark of your leadership. Well, he took off his fancy watch and he took off his, put down his phone, and he went all in that swimming pool. And here's what I want to say to you. Today is your day. Today is your day to make a conscious decision about the areas of your life that you are living half-assed, half-baked. Woo! Out loud. I think I was thinking and I was meant to say, didn't mean to say it. But that's what you're doing. You are living a half-baked life. Have you ever had half-baked dough? It's disgusting. And you know what? There's things about your life that you are miserable. And it's because you're not living all in with your family. Don't just kind of do life with them and not know. Be intentional. Take them on an intentional vacation. Take them on an intentional date. Take them intentionally out tonight. If you've got time tonight, don't take your wife out. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? That is not living an intentionally romantic life. Make a decision. Be clear with it. Be strategic. Make it romantic. In your finances, don't que sera, sera. Set a plan. If you don't have a plan, we'll get you a plan. I'm going to release soon, probably when I'm 50, I'm going to finally take it out of the attic. My book, Smart Money. I've written it. I'm holding on to that transcript because it is a book about you living an intentionally free, financially free life. Be intentional about your finances. Be intentional about your faith. You know what? If you don't have specified time that you have dedicated to prayer and fasting and meditation, you need to become intentional. Plug into some small groups. Plug into a church. If you're not in a church, get in one. Let every area, the areas that I cover in Shift Happens are finances, fitness, family, faith, emotions, friends, and career. Now you may want to add other areas to that and make it even more dissected, but those 7 areas, 7 is a number of completion. Those 7 areas, if you will begin to get out of the pit and into the conscious thinking, out of your ego, out of your emotions, and say, you know what? I'm going to consciously be more effective in those areas. Not a striving, not for titles, not to be somebody, not so that you'll be accepted, but so that you can be intentional and truly knowing, I'm not just floating through life, but I'm living all in. I can hear my kids today saying, come on, all in, Mommy, all in, jump all in. And that's what I'm saying to you. Whatever it is in your life that you're kind of doing, go all in. And remember, this week, you have an opportunity to make life better for someone else. Share this with someone else. Like it, share it, and then you'll be entered for our drawing as well. Remember, now is the time. This is the place, and you are the one to help us make life better for many. Have a great week, everybody.